back to the SCORE Business Showcase. Once again, we have a phenomenal business with us. Rasul Branch is the owner of the business. And what is the name of your business, Rasul?
It's called MagnaCon 7. It's an event planning and design firm. We specialize in event planning, event design, conceptualization, and consulting.
Very good. Now, how did you come up with the name MagnaCon?
Actually, the name came from a watch. Actually, there's a company called Nixon, which is a phenomenal watch company. I'm actually wearing one of the watches now too. They make very heavy duty watches, high quality stuff and whatnot. And I saw this particular watch that I was enamored with and whatnot. And the name of that watch is the MagnaCon SS. It's like $1,000 watch. And I kind of use that as a goal, not necessarily in a materialistic way, but more so like, you know what? That's a really, really fantastic watch, and I would like to buy that, and I would pass it down to, my future, heir at some point too. And the name would just struck me so much that I was like, you know what? I think I may use this to name my new company now. So, breaking down the name, MagnaCon is not actually a real word. It's actually two words. So, Magna means great. Con, broken down to its Latin meaning, is commitment, and then the 7 is the biblical number of completion. So every bit of the name actually has a purpose. So it's great commitment to completion.
Well, after the show, we have to compare watches. I have the Philip Stein, and we're going to check that out. But anyways, now what do you do, and how do you get how did you get into this work?
I do a variety of things. Say one is having, how can I put it, trying to think of the word I was thinking of. Job ADD, I guess, so to speak, or interest ADD. So, I've always had multiple interests or been working in multiple fields at the same time, but the event planning part has always been around. As you may know, it's kind of in the family with mom and dad and stuff doing events. And
your dad cakes.
Yep, cakes, and I started.
In fact, we did a show with him.
Yeah, exactly. So, started out as a DJ when I was 15. And then rolling that into high school, became involved in a lot of the different clubs and organizations and city and school government, whatnot. Transitioned to college, did the same exact thing all over again. Became involved socially with a lot of the event planning and social changes that were going on in the university. And then fast forward into more adult life with being a downtown Bridgeport business. I've once again, interjected myself into social, change platforms, community organizing, event planning, event designing, and filling in gaps that were previously not filled or people were looking for, or trying to find a way to be better involved with their community. And a lot of that is creating these vehicles for social engagement for people. And the best way to do that is to basically throw a party,
And everybody likes a party, don't they?
Everybody loves a party or an event or something like that. Mm-hmm. So,
now, where are you located?
Right now, we're located downtown Bridgeport. We're behind the Arcade Mall. It's at 1001 Main Street, Suite 14. It's part of the historic arcade, which is a 100-plus-year-old structure, and it's actually one of the first malls in the United States as well too. And it's right, right central downtown Bridgeport.
Oh, fantastic. Now, what type of projects do you have in process right now?
Well, right now, we're actually in the 4th week of actually one of our major undertakings, which is the Downtown Thursdays free live music series that takes place right across the street at McLevy Green. This is our 4th week, and this is our first year as, I say, 50% partner in managing and facilitating and organizing the concerts this year. So it's this year's a 5-week series. We're wrapping up with old school hip hop at the Bluefish ballpark this year. It's outgrown its size from the green now, so we've actually had to move it down the street to a much bigger venue, which is phenomenal to have that kind of growth for a brand new segment of music that we've added to the series. The series has been around for 7 years, and we came in on the 5th year and added a couple different genres of music to it, and it's grown exponentially.
How many DJs do you have doing that?
For this particular show, I think we have somewhere between 6 and 8 DJs. We have a couple performers. I can't release any performer names just yet that we're potentially working with, but it's all old school classic hip hop and R&B artists.
Do you have
that
an
we're
extra
bringing for
couple
the
of
show.
tickets in your
So
pocket?
you actually you don't even need tickets; they're free.
Oh, really?
The entire concert's free. The
Fabulous.
series is free, and we plan on keeping it that way too. Another one of the projects that we work on is the Bridgeport Arts Festival, which is a collection of artists from all over the region, which are selling their wares, crafts, artwork, and some sharing, their abilities and capabilities with the public as well. It's food, music, entertainment, and families and whatnot. And that takes place.
I've been to one of your shows.
Yeah.
In fact, at the Reeds Building.
Yeah, that's another show that we do too as well. We work with approximately 50 plus artists from Bridgeport, New Haven, New York, Stanford, some from Montreal, some from Miami as well, and we organize large scale art shows as well too. So we're talking, usually around the realm of 50 artists, over 200 pieces in a 4,000 square foot art gallery.
Now, it sounds like you have a lot of things going on. How do you keep track of all your projects?
BlackBerry is very, very handy. It's as outdated as it may be for some. It's a fantastic organizing tool. And then I work with multiple different groups to help manage some of this stuff too as well. So it's not just, all of it's not on me. A lot of it is central to me, but there's other members of the team too that are, that are completely invaluable to making sure all the stuff, stays on task and moves forward too.
And how do you actually connect with the community?
Like I said before, everybody loves a party. Part of my background before was a nightclub promoter. So in doing that and being a DJ and then constantly, meeting new people and whatnot, I developed a very, very, very large following and crowd and network of people that we can work with. And about 6 years ago, I decided to kind of change streams and get out of the nightlife aspect of it. We kept a couple events with the bowling events and whatnot. And I decided, we've gotten enough people intoxicated. So now it's time to do something that's lasting, something that is going to be inspirational for the next generation, something that somebody else can grab the torch and pick up. Like, wow, I want to do this, and I want to do it 10 times better than he did. And that's my honest hope, is that somebody comes and picks up what we're doing, and they do it better, and they do it bigger. So that in itself, I guess, inspired a lot of other people to start trying to connect with us when we started doing different kinds of programming from what we previously did. So one of those programs, like I said, was the whole art aspect, and there was a kind of a big fracture amongst artists, or different kinds of artists, and particularly graffiti artists. Some of the people that we were working with, the guys that I grew up with, and we created that show, A Beautiful Crime, which is a graffiti and pop art show. We started in 2011, which bridged the gap between your traditional artists and your graffiti artists and photographers and DJs and whatnot. And now you have this kind of cohesive working network where your non-traditional artists and your traditional artists are starting to collaborate with pieces. So I think that kind of began the synergy here, because nobody had really seen that happen. Everything had been very segregated, as far as skill set, as far as class and whatnot. And we started creating these little crossover markets where people can, start cross-pollinating with events. So that was the catalyst for what we started doing here in Bridgeport, was that show. And then snowballed into a program called Create Here Now, which was a space reuse program for empty storefronts downtown Bridgeport. And we helped local artists within Bridgeport to bring their skill sets and their artwork outside of their private spaces and bring it into a public space where they could put other work on for display, set up their own kind of stores, arrange events in their stores and whatnot too. And then that gave birth to BBT Creates, which is the space that houses all these different projects as well too.
Now, I grew up in Bridgeport, and so I actually love Bridgeport, and I see that you are wearing a shirt that says "I love Bridgeport." What is that all about?
So, growing up in Bridgeport, as you know, and navigating up and down the coastline of Connecticut and some of the other interior areas, Bridgeport doesn't necessarily have the greatest reputation with other members of the state. And if you've ever dance up and down any of the blogs or any of the newspaper posts or anything online, everybody has something not so great to say about Bridgeport. And we kind of got tired of it because we live here. We know there's good people here. We know there's people that do great things here. And we thought, like, you know what? What if we put the same amount of energy that we put into spreading the bad news that happens here, and we put that into the good news that happens here? And it was a no-brainer. New York City's done it with their campaign, with their I Love New York campaign. So we created this I Love Bridgeport campaign. We thought we can do the same exact thing. We're gonna just focus on all the good things that happen in Bridgeport. And even when we do come across bad things, how can we help fix and repair some of those things and improve that?
Very positive.
Absolutely, super, super positive. So we're very much involved in managing a lot of the social events, helping to organize some of the community capital that we're working with, and all of us have extensive networks within within that group. So we extend a lot of our leverage that we have in the community to help other organizations and groups and initiatives flourish.
Now, we usually find out, what are the challenges, your successes, things of that nature. With so many things that you have going on, how do you keep motivated?
There's always work to do. There's always work to do, and I'm not one of those people that can sit by and then watch, something or someone suffer. Especially with, again, there's great people here, and they deserve a chance at, displaying that greatness or being a part of that more. So that's a motivating factor. I just love what I do, and I love the people that I work with, and I love to see them smile or appreciative or get involved when they weren't involved before, when they were such staunch opponents of Bridgeport, and now they've become supporters. So.
Now, with that in mind, what words of inspiration do you have for our viewers out there?
I'll put it like this: we can't rely on everybody or anybody to come save us. I'm a firm believer in that. If we want to see change, we have to make that change ourselves. Stop trying to convince people that this is good, this is good, this is great. Go do the good, go be the good, and then the conversation doesn't have to take place anymore. Your actions. I can't go to a city without bringing back a little piece of it or some kind of inspiration or something that works. I always see a little bit of Bridgeport or things that can work in Bridgeport and other cities. Like I said, with Montreal, with Miami, with Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York City, Boston. They're all major metropolitan cities with far greater populations to work with, and along with larger populations, larger issues. So I think we can take some of those experiences, some of those initiatives from there, and apply them to Bridgeport here.
Super.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And to you people out there in TV land, SCORE Business Showcase, thanks you for watching. This has been Steve Geyer with SCORE, and to your success.